A lot of men over 50 find themselves asking the same uncomfortable question. Is my best sex behind me? Maybe you've noticed that getting hard isn't as easy as it once was. Maybe your energy feels drained, recovery takes longer, or your confidence just isn't the same. And let's be honest, when things aren't firing in the bedroom, it doesn't just stay in the bedroom. It affects your mood, your confidence, and even your relationships. But here's the good news. A great sex life doesn't expire at 50. In fact, some men report that the years after 50 bring more satisfaction, more connection, and in many cases, even better intimacy than they ever had in their younger days. The difference comes down to a handful of factors: physical health, mental attitude, and the choices you make every single day. In this video, we're going to dig into what really predicts a satisfying sex life after 50, what's holding many men back, and what you can start doing today to stack the odds in your favor. Once you cross that 50 mark, your body doesn't quite play by the same rules it used to. Testosterone levels, the hormone that fuels your sex drive, energy, and performance, naturally start to decline. It's not like a switch flips overnight, but even a slow dip makes a difference. Suddenly, you notice that morning wood doesn't happen as often as it used to, or that you're not thinking about sex as much throughout the day. That spark you took for granted in your 20s and 30s feels like it's fading. Blood flow is another big piece. As we age, blood vessels stiffen, circulation slows, and since erections are all about blood rushing in and staying there, that slowdown hits your performance hard. A man who never thought twice about getting hard in his 30s might now find himself frustrated. He's mentally in the mood, but physically, it doesn't always show up the way he wants. That frustration can spill into the relationship, leading to hesitation or even avoidance of intimacy. And then there's the mental side. Imagine coming home after a stressful day, work deadlines, bills piling up, maybe even dealing with health concerns like high blood pressure or prediabetes. You're exhausted, your head's somewhere else, and the last thing your body feels like doing is performing on demand. For some men, this builds into a cycle. The more you worry about whether you'll rise to the occasion, the less likely it is to actually happen. Add to this the physical changes. Maybe you've put on some belly fat, your stamina in the gym isn't what it was, or even a night of drinks leaves you sluggish the next day. All of these things directly affect how you feel in the bedroom. None of this means sex has to fade away after 50, but it does mean you can't keep doing the same things you did at 25 and expect the same results. The men who recognize these changes and take action, improving their health, lowering stress, and working on confidence, are the ones who not only keep their sex lives alive, but often make them better than ever. Now here's the interesting part. When researchers looked at thousands of men and women across Europe, they found some clear patterns that predicted who stayed satisfied with their sex life as they got older. And while a lot of it makes sense, a few things might surprise you. First, no shock here. Men who rated their health as poor or who carried multiple illnesses like diabetes or heart disease were far less satisfied in the bedroom. Why? Because when your body's struggling, your sex life is usually the first thing to take a hit. But health alone wasn't the whole story. One of the strongest predictors of a good sex life later in life was something many men overlook: loneliness. Men who stayed socially connected, whether it was grabbing a beer with a buddy, staying active in their community, or just keeping close with family, reported far better sexual satisfaction. It makes sense. When you're isolated, your confidence and mood drop, and intimacy feels harder to maintain. Another big factor was how important a man personally considered sex to be. If you treat your sex life as an afterthought, chances are it's going to fade. But if you see intimacy as a priority, you're more likely to find ways to keep it alive, whether that's through communication, trying new things, or even seeing a doctor when something feels off. And here's one more insight. While the study included both men and women, it found that men who actively worked on their relationships rather than coasting were the ones most likely to stay satisfied. That's a reminder that your sex life after 50 isn't just about hormones or erections, it's also about connection. The first is poor health. High blood pressure, diabetes, and heart disease all damage the lining of your blood vessels. That matters because an erection is basically a hydraulic system. It's all about blood flow. If your arteries are stiff, clogged, or weak, the blood can't rush in and stay there. The result? Softer erections, ones that don't last, or sometimes no erection at all. Take John, 55. He never thought much about his blood pressure. He skipped checkups, carried a little extra weight, and chalked up his low energy to getting older. But when he started noticing that he couldn't stay hard, he went to the doctor. Turns out he had undiagnosed hypertension. The truth is, erectile issues are often the first red flag that something deeper is going on with your heart health. Next is mental health, depression and stress. Stress keeps your body locked in fight or flight mode, pumping out cortisol, a hormone that lowers testosterone. That's why after a long, draining day, you may feel too exhausted or distracted for sex. Depression makes this worse. Low motivation, low energy, and loss of interest can flatline desire completely. Think of David, 62, who found himself going through the motions at work and at home. He wasn't sleeping well, felt disconnected, and even when his partner tried to initiate intimacy, he just wasn't interested. It wasn't until he got help for his depression that his sex drive and his performance started to bounce back. Then there's loneliness, a silent roadblock many men underestimate. Men aren't always great at keeping friendships alive. As work slows down and kids move out, it's easy to find yourself isolated. But men who feel disconnected are far less likely to feel satisfied in the bedroom. For example, Paul, 67, lost his wife and slowly drifted away from his social circle. He thought intimacy was behind him, but when he joined a community fitness group, his mood lifted, his confidence returned, and his desire came back. Connection matters more than most men realize. Finally, there's mindset. A lot of men over 50 convince themselves that sex is just something that fades with age. But treating sex like an afterthought guarantees it will fade. Mike, 58, had been married for 30 years. He and his wife still loved each other, but he stopped putting in effort. No date nights, no conversations about intimacy, no adjustments when things changed. Over time, sex became rare. Compare that to another man his age who kept romance alive, explored new ways to connect, and stayed proactive about his health. His sex life thrived. The difference wasn't age, it was attitude. Now let's talk about the good news, because just as there are roadblocks, there are also proven ways to dramatically improve your sex life after 50. And here's the truth. The men who put effort into this stage of life often say, "I didn't just get my sex life back, I made it better than ever." The first and most powerful key is taking charge of your health. Strong erections depend on strong blood flow. That means your heart, arteries, and veins all need to be in good shape. If your doctor tells you your blood pressure is high or your blood sugar is creeping into the danger zone, that's not just a heart issue, it's a bedroom issue. Men who clean up their diets, swapping fried foods for lean proteins, adding more vegetables, cutting back on sugars and processed carbs, often notice a difference in just weeks. Why? Because your blood vessels become more responsive, circulation improves, and your body starts producing hormones at a healthier level. Add regular exercise into the mix, strength training to build muscle, cardio to keep your blood pumping, and even something as simple as a 30-minute walk after dinner, and you're setting yourself up for firmer, longer-lasting erections. Mark, 57, is a great example. He was sluggish, overweight, and embarrassed by inconsistent performance. Once he committed to hitting the gym twice a week and cleaning up his diet, he didn't just lose 15 pounds. He felt years younger, and his sex life followed suit. Second, let's talk about connection, both emotional and social. Intimacy thrives when you feel connected, not just to your partner, but to people in general. Loneliness is one of the biggest killers of desire, and unfortunately, men over 50 often find themselves more isolated. Maybe work slowed down, maybe the kids moved out, maybe you've just drifted from friends. But here's the reality. Men who stay socially active report far more satisfying sex lives. That could be as simple as joining a golf league, scheduling weekly calls with old friends, or getting involved in community events. Why does this matter for sex? Because when you feel supported, valued, and connected, you bring more energy and confidence into the bedroom. Paul, 67, who lost his wife, thought intimacy was behind him. But when he joined a community fitness class and rebuilt his social circle, his confidence came roaring back. and so did his sex drive. The third factor is making intimacy a priority. Too many men fall into autopilot mode. They assume that sex after 50 just naturally declines, so they stop putting effort into it. But here's the truth. Men who treat intimacy as a core part of life, just like health or work, are the ones who stay satisfied. That means being intentional, planning date nights, initiating more often, or even just taking time to talk openly with your partner about what's working and what isn't. One simple conversation can often break months of frustration. And don't confuse intimacy with just intercourse. Sometimes it's about touch, kissing, cuddling, or exploring new experiences together. When you make your partner feel desired, the physical side tends to follow naturally. Next, we have the medical side, and this is where a lot of men need to swallow their pride. Too many guys suffer in silence, thinking it's weak to ask for help. But modern medicine has completely changed the game. If you're struggling with erections, there are medications like Viagra or Cialis that can restore blood flow. If your testosterone levels are low, hormone therapy can give you back your drive and energy. Even simple solutions like lubricants or pelvic floor exercises can make a huge difference. The men who actually talk to their doctors instead of pretending everything's fine are the ones who bounce back the fastest. Silence kills sex lives. Action saves them. Finally, we can't ignore the role of mental health and stress reduction. Stress hormones are like poison for your sex drive. They drain testosterone, kill motivation, and keep your body in a constant fight or flight state. That's why men who find ways to manage stress, whether through meditation, deep breathing, regular sleep, or even just cutting back on alcohol, see huge changes in performance. David, 62, discovered that when he stopped staying up until midnight, scrolling on his phone, and started prioritizing sleep, his energy and libido came back stronger than they'd been in years. A calmer, healthier mind leads to a more responsive body. The bottom line is this: men who commit to their health, nurture their connections, make intimacy a priority, use medical tools when needed, and manage their stress don't just maintain their sex lives after 50, they transform them. Many will tell you that their best years in the bedroom didn't happen in their 20s or 30s, but in their 50s and 60s, when they finally understood how to take care of themselves and their relationships. So what can you actually do starting today to build a better sex life after 50? The first step is to take care of your health, like your sex life depends on it, because it does. Get your blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol checked. Clean up your diet by swapping heavy processed foods for lean protein, fruits, and vegetables. Even walking 30 minutes a day makes a real difference in circulation and energy. Second, stay connected. Don't let yourself drift into isolation. Call a friend, join a group, or spend more time with people who energize you. The more connected you feel in daily life, the more connected and confident you'll feel in the bedroom. Third, make intimacy a priority. That means being intentional. Date nights, initiating more often, and keeping open conversations with your partner about what you both want. Sex isn't just about frequency, it's about quality and connection. When you treat it as important, your partner feels it, and the results follow. Fourth, don't ignore medical help. If you're struggling, talk to your doctor. Medications, hormone therapy, or even simple tools can reignite your performance and confidence. Too many men suffer in silence, but the ones who take action are the ones who keep their sex lives thriving. And finally, manage your stress and mental health. Cut back on alcohol, prioritize better sleep, and find a way to decompress daily, whether it's a hobby, meditation, or exercise. A calmer, healthier mind supports stronger performance and makes intimacy something you look forward to instead of something you worry about. Put these pieces together, and you create the foundation for a satisfying, confident sex life, not just now, but for years to come. Here's the bottom line. Being over 50 doesn't mean your sex life is winding down. It just means it's time to approach it differently. The men who stay healthy, connected, and intentional are the ones who don't just keep their intimacy alive, they take it to levels they never thought possible. Remember, your sex life is a reflection of how you take care of yourself, physically, emotionally, and mentally. When you put in the effort, you don't just improve performance, you improve confidence, relationships, and overall happiness. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We post new videos every week breaking down real strategies for men's health and performance after 50. Think of it as your playbook for staying strong, staying confident, and yes, staying passionate in the bedroom for years to come. So don't wait for things to just get better. Invest in yourself now because the best years of your sex life can still be ahead of you.